Kaweza kuungana nasi hapa ni Mwangaza asubuhi leo ikiwa ni Family Thursday. Na kama nilivyokuwa nimezungumza nawe hapo awali, nilivyokueleza ni kwamba siku ya leo we'll be discussing about fathers and sons. We need to know more about this. It's a topic that most of you walikuwa wananiambia, you know what MK, we need to know about this. Tumeongelea sana ule upande wa mama na mtoto wake wa kike, lakini sasa hapa kwa baba pia tunataka tukaweze kuelimisha. And what we do here at Mwangaza asubuhi, we listen to what you want to hear. We tunatilia maanani mtazamaji wetu anataka kusikia hivi sisi ni nani, who are we. We tend to bring you those people, they get to educate us a lot, na pia tunaweza kuelewa tukiwa sisi pamoja, because if you get educated I also get educated over here. Kwa hivyo ndani ya nyumba leo tunaye bwana Manasseh ambaye tutakuwa tunazungumza naye swala hili about fathers and son. Kwa hivyo kama una ujumbe wowote ama pia kama una swali ungependa kumuuliza, unaweza ukazungumza nasi pale kwenye SMS line yetu ambayo ni 22914, na pia we are streaming live on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page pale ambayo ni Mwangaza TV Kenya. Kwa hivyo if you have any question, anything you want to tell us, pia salamu pia unaweza kunitumia pale, nitakuwa nikizidi kusoma. Kwa hivyo karibu sana bwana Manasseh.
Asante sana.
You're most welcome here.
Thank you.
Na leo tunazungumzia father and son. Kwa hivyo ningependa before we even do anything else, does father and son mean lazima ukuwe huyo mtoto wako ni your biological son, ama pia inaguzia the guardians and other people, that as long as it is father and son, does it have to be biological?
Well, maybe I would start by first introducing myself and thanking you so much for hosting me.
You're
and
welcome.
hosting us here. We're so grateful. This is a great place to be at and a great opportunity really to share about father and son. Now, I am Manasseh and I am a father before everything else. And today I get the opportunity to share on some of the experiences I've had as a father and what I've learned, you know. And fatherhood, or being a father, it's something that is very interesting. I want to believe from where I come from, it's really a gift. It's a gift, and it's an amazing opportunity to not only in the areas of responsibility and you know, legacy, and you know, fatherhood does not only stop on the biological aspect of it. If you look at one of the best-seller books, and that's the Bible, it really records that moments come where God himself, as you continue to grow, he will give you father and mother and brothers and sisters, because it means that time can come in life where you may find yourself, maybe you did not have a father, maybe they died early, or maybe you come from a dysfunctional family and all of that, and there is an arrangement that this bestseller book has recommended. And so I agree with you that it's not just biological, but it's a wide, there are opportunities of those ones who do not have fathers to receive fathers from different spheres of life or spaces of life, both in church or whether in school or whether just meeting someone who can be a father to you who did not necessarily you know, give birth to you. Yeah.
And I'd like to ask you this also.
Yes.
What is the best thing about being a dad?
Wow, I think that's a very personal. Every father has something that they would say about it. For me, as a person, you know, being a father, for me, it's a privilege. I happen to have never gotten that opportunity to be fathered the way I'm having this opportunity to father my own sons and my own daughters. And so for me, it's really a gift, and it is special because I can protect some of the values that I think my children or my sons need to have. And so I see an opportunity to build a legacy for me. I see myself after myself, and that's really a great opportunity for me. Yeah.
And maybe you can explain to us those things that you do to your son, maybe that strengthen your bond. Yeah, maybe your father didn't do that to you, but in this time that we're living in, the things you're doing to create that bond between you and your son.
You know, one thing about fatherhood can never happen in absentia. It means it's deliberate time to be available. That means I'm investing time. Nothing is more important than my children. And for anybody who cares about the future, nothing is more important than the legacy that you want to leave after you're not there. You see, the bestseller book, again, I would refer to it, it says, a good name is better than riches. And sometimes I find myself as a businessman who is also doing business that is very engaging. Sometimes it requires me to be in many different places. Sometimes I may even find myself being away for some time. But I really want to regulate that and always have time with my sons and my daughters. So one of those things that I do, when I get the opportunity, or every time I'm at home and I have my children, I have a conversation with them. I want to hear them. How was your day? What made you sad today? You know, what made you happy today? What did you learn today? You know, and I get involved into their life. I want them to be emotionally vulnerable to me. I want them to also know how my hustles have been. It's not easy to go outside here and to make things happen as a father. And so I involve them in a conversation, for sure. And for me, I think one of the greatest things is that moment where I have a conversation with my child or with my son.
And apart from that, maybe is there something else apart from listening to them, having conversations? Maybe is there like going out or stuff?
I mean, it involves a lot. Like personally, I'm someone who does a lot of morning walks and also evening walks, and in these sessions I tag along my son, and we talk about stories. His time as a son to me is very different from how I grew up, and I share with him stories, how I grew up and what are some of the things that we experienced. I grew up in Nandi, you know, and for him is growing up in the city, and life here in the city is very different. We used to go hunting. Maybe for him, he's not got an opportunity to go hunting, but we share stories, personal things that excite me, and I try to find it also from him if he has also those interests that he would also want to share with me. So I literally do a lot of morning walks with him. I also tag him along to church, and for me it's very important to show him things that I believe in. What you believe in really influences your perspective. It even influences how you make business and how you live generally life. And so I involve him. I hold his hand and I tell him it's important to find time and come to church, and I hold his hand and we go to church together. And for me that's very important.
And maybe are there aspects that maybe your father taught you about when he was raising you that you are willing or you have already impacted them in your son?
Yes. Well, you know, I had a very interesting background. My father, by circumstances, happened not to be around. My father left me when I was 1 year old, and up until later on in life, at around 25 years later, is when he came in. But I'm so grateful. I do not want to call it fate, that there are people who played the role of a father in me, and one of those people that I really want to thank is Pastor Bernard Mitui, a man who took me in not only as a friend, not only as a younger brother, but he fathered me. He held my hands. He taught me what it means to become to be mentored, or to be a son and to be a father. And one of the things I think I can remember what he taught me, that I am so willing to pass it on even to my own sons and my own daughters, would be integrity. You know, integrity is very important. You know, being sincere and being truthful, and not living life to impress anybody, but just being truthful and viewing life with sincerity, and as you know, valuing people and relationships. These are some of the things that I learned from him that I would want really to pass on to my son and also my daughters, and those ones also that I can adapt to, you know, father, you know.
And apart from that, also there are kind of like bad things that maybe you went through at that time that you would never want your son to go through. Maybe you can give us a snippet of that too.
Yes, it is interesting how life has packaged itself. I have come to appreciate certain experiences in life that are really not in our own control. One, we don't choose to be born in the family we want.
Yeah.
And as you continue in life, others happen to, their fathers will either leave them early in whatever circumstance that has caused them to leave, but somehow they find themselves they do not have a father. And in that particular case, I have learned as someone who did not see my own biological father in this particular case, whom I really looked like. But unfortunately, he wasn't there up until 25, and I see someone coming who really looks like me. And, you know, it becomes an experience. I think I do not want that kind of surprise for my sons and my daughters. I want to be at a place where I'm available. I am there to create identity, which is very important, that they have someone who they look like, someone who has thrived, someone who has become, someone who is living and they can emulate and learn from, you know. Sometimes when sons are growing up, you would find that sometimes they would want to, one of those things that they really can suffer in the absence of their fathers is identity. And identity is very important, because without identity, then you don't know who you are, and this world does not accommodate a monster. You'd have to be someone who draws your values, draws your identity from somewhere. But again, there is a lot of hope. For some of them, maybe for me, for this particular, looks like it's a weakness, but really it's a strength in itself, because it is in that phase that also God was able. And I want to really put a lot of weight in that part where there is no better father than God himself. And in moments where, for sons or those ones who are listening to us, why even we are talking about this event that is coming, it's an opportunity to know that it's not yet done. You still have an opportunity. There is a father who is the best father of us all, and he cares, and he always brings men who can play that role of a father. But if you're a father, then I think I would really insist that you do not want to be an absentee father. Try as much as possible to be more involved, be available to your sons and to your daughters. And I think that's more important. Yeah.
And we're finding that some maybe sons find it so hard to talk to their dads. You've told us that you take walks with your son, you have talks. So how do you manage to have that moment with your son?
Well, it's being intentional in this busy economy, and with sometimes fathers especially, this is a very tight life here in Nairobi. It's not easy, but you must create time for what you value. And for me, I have prioritized to create time. But again, I'm grateful, because what I do as a businessman is not, I do not do it every single day. I can always, sometimes when I have time, I do not have to turn to the office. I can just work from home, and I can create time to be available. If I'm not at home, then I'm in the office. If I'm not in the office, then possibly I'm in church, and that is my triangle there. And my sons always know, if I'm not at home, then I'm at work. If I'm not at work doing business, then either I'm in church or something like that. And so within those times, especially when I'm at home, I use those times to maximize on the part of communication and relationship, and I want to really build that bond very strongly, because I know what it means coming from a place where I did have a father who really did that to me. Yeah.
And having to see that you want to create that bond, so it means it's very special. Like, what would you say is the most outstanding thing concerning that relationship between your son and yourself?
One thing about my relationship with my son is the fact that I see them, the patterns of their thoughts and how I'm influencing that. You know, their perspectives of life. You know, as a father, I want them to know that every father is different, just like the fingerprint, and we cannot compare fathers, but we have things that are common between fathers. And so for me, I'm grateful, because I have gotten the opportunity to influence my son's perspective about life. That in life you may always sometimes find others who are better than you.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to be contented for who you are and knowing that there is always a better tomorrow is a perspective that I've seen it so much with my son. The fact that they can always not desire things that is not within their own reach, and to know that with time I need to work hard. If there is something that I need to get, and then I see my dad always getting out, and if I don't have it, I come back and I say I tried, I didn't make it. And sometimes when I make it, I say, well, I did it, and this is what you have. Practical values that I can pass on, I think, is perspective, to influence directly the perspective of my son. Yeah,
that's really nice. And I'd like to ask you, maybe your son makes mistakes at times, so how do you deal with that without breaking the bond that you guys have created?
Sorry,
I'm asking, your son makes mistakes at times,
yes,
right?
yes.
So how do you deal with that without breaking the bond that you guys have?
Fatherhood must, in my own perspective, it must be very sincere. It must be very truthful. And one thing is that I am not a perfect father. I have weaknesses that sometimes I share with also my son. And also strengths that I also share with my son. Mistakes are there to be made, because I made mistakes when I grew up. And the fact that they are making mistakes, it means it's an opportunity for me to actually share and to bring it to their attention that there is a better way on how to do this. And I think what we are talking about there is discipline. The part where they sometimes can act or do something that seemingly it's not agreeable, it's not agreeable to you or both of you as parents. You want to make sure that always there's a conversation and bring in an understanding before even correcting and just jumping into it. Everything we do it carries an attitude behind it. And I think as a father, I always want to involve my son to understand why this is wrong and why there is always a better way on how to do it. Why? Because I love him. I don't want to reprimand him. I don't want him to feel weakly. I don't want him to feel bad because of the wrong he did. No, I want him to learn. And it's by mistakes that we learn. So for me, I am more into seeing, and I think it's a good way to do it, because some of the worst experiences we had when we were growing up, I think one of those very hard moments is to have a father who is more condescending in their tone and more patronizing in their tone rather than loving and inviting, especially the traditional way on how to bring up fathers. Sometimes it can how to bring up sons. Sometimes it really sends a wrong message, and so after some time you may find a child feels or either a son feels like they want to be rebellious. But you see, there is also a statement that has been captured in this bestseller book. And one of those statements is sometimes I think preachers, when they talk about it, and when you hear people talking about it, most of the time they insist on the part where children or whether sons ought to obey their parents. But if you go down there, it also speaks about fathers not provoking their sons or their children. It means that in my actions, I must also be careful not to provoke or whether to send a signal that is hating rather than love and warm embrace, and that there is a purpose in all of this correction to make you a better person.
And you've told us that you went through a lot of challenges back then when you were young. Your son might not face the same exact challenges, but challenges are there. So how are you preparing your son to be strong enough for those challenges that he might face maybe in the future or even in his age right now?
The truth is, again, written in this bestseller book, the Bible, it's written every single day has its equal share of troubles and problems. And it's true that life in itself is about conquering challenges that come. And I want them to know that what I went through, they may not necessarily go through, or they do not have necessarily to go through it.
Yeah.
But I want them to be prepared, understanding that life is you prepare for challenges that are going to come, and that's why we go to school. That's why going to school is important.
Yeah.
That's why the kind of career you choose is important.
Yeah.
That's why values that you carry is important. That is why you need to value relationship with people. And those are preparations on how you're going to interact with people, how you're going to interact in the marketplace and living life. And some of the challenges that also maybe they can be seeing in our own families. I usually would want to, all of this is passed through a conversation, and not only a conversation, but also moments where practically they see how I live life and how I take on challenges that come. One, I don't run away. If we do not have you know, let's say, for example, they were supposed to go out for a tour, and maybe we do not have the finances to do that at that particular time. I would always involve them in a conversation that I went out for business. I expected I'm going to make business, but interestingly, I was not able to. But there are days that I've gone out where I've made business and I've taken you, paid up your trip. That kind of understanding helps them to even face what would look like disappointments that life would want to throw to them. They have an understanding on how to go through it. But even because sometimes you can't preempt every challenge that comes along. But the most important thing is the understanding part, that this is life, and when I'm not there, when anybody's not there, they need to know how to pray. And when they involve God in their life, somehow there is a peace that surpasses human understanding that usually will enable them to maneuver that. And I'm also grateful because God is a great helper when it comes into fathering a son. Because the understanding that sons or either children are not just our own product, we are only stewards of them, given for a moment to steward them. They have their purpose, divine purpose that they were created for, and that is what I want them to unfold and become that which they were created to be. And so I can only steward, and in moments when I'm defeated, I would always turn to God and ask God, what do I do about this? And I think it's really it gives a lot of peace, and it also puts me not as a God to him, but as someone only who is stewarding him and giving him also an opportunity to have a relationship with his maker and the one who created him and allowed him to be around.
And I'd like to ask you this, do you think raising boys in the past was so easy compared to this time, or are we raising boys right now is much easier compared to the past? Which one do you think is easy and why?
Well, you know, culture changes with time. The truth is, when I was his age, you know, things were very different. Looking at how socially speaking, economically speaking, and even the truth of the Word of God, or maybe how faith was talked about in my days, is very different from our time. The truth is that seasons usually change. I cannot bring up my son the way I was brought up. Culture was different. The geographical location was different. Urban upbringing, fathers who were in urban setups bring their children slightly different, because culture also is something that is really influencing a lot of our lifestyle. And so by that it means that we would have to be at a place where we consider certain elements. One of those things I learned that I would not want to pass on is the fact that my dad would always mention that this is how we were brought up. You know, we didn't have the laxity maybe to, you know, we put on shoes maybe when we were at this particular age, and so I think you need to walk barefoot. I think that's something that it's overtaken with time. Right now, shoes, or if you put on clothing, it's a basic need. It's actually a right for them. You know, and it's that I put into consideration, especially when it comes into bringing children. Different timings. Fathers must also come to a place where we understand seasons and timings and how to do things so that our children can be even more relevant now and also in the future, and not only remaining in our days and how what we valued then is not even what they value today. For example, today some of the things we do is we can play games together, online. Maybe those days, like in my time, we went hunting. Because I grew up in the remote areas. That is not what you can be able to do, but we can spend time by playing games, a PlayStation. We play together, and we still are able to achieve that emotional connect that you can have within a child. So for sure, times are different, and it's important to be cognizant of our times and to bring up our children as per our time, and also considering the future that is coming. Yes.
You've spoken about playing games online, so that's about technology.
Yes.
So maybe has technology played another big role or another big part when it comes to raising your son?
We some of the things sometimes I really challenge my son is the fact that they need to get out. Let's go to walk, but they would always ask me where do we go, because you live in a place where it's only buildings here and there. But yes, technology has played a big role. Look, now we have TVs, and there's a lot of programs that are coming. There are phones, and there are tabs, and they want to download apps, and you can find your son spending a lot of time in their room just on their phone. It may not be healthy, but it's if you look at 80% of now interactions really is one way or the other influenced by technology, and you cannot be able to assume that fact. Yes.
And we see that most fathers, it's really hard for them to connect with their sons emotionally, especially. So you find even some people, it's so hard for fathers to tell their sons of how much they love them, how much they value them. How do you deal with that? Because you told us you affirm your son every time, telling him you can do it, I love you so much. So how do you go about that?
Well, I can tell you, Muthoni, right? Yeah, I can tell you for sure. Some of these values we have learned them by reading this bestseller book. It's one of my strongest recommendations to any father. If you cannot read any book, please find time and read this bestseller book of all times, the Bible. And to respond to you is the fact that how we were brought up, or generally the African culture, especially when it comes to how fathers would relate to their son emotionally, there are statements that are very hard. You would never have learned from anyone. Like traditional fathers, it's very hard to say, I love you, son. I appreciate you.
Really
or maybe to say, I'm wrong. Or to say, please forgive me on this particular part. We feel those are not statements that we were taught. And so as a result, we think it's weakness when we, affirm, when you say, I love you. But when you read this book, it has continued to repeat over and over that he loved us. And it's like God himself is becoming vulnerable to us. He's becoming vulnerable to us emotionally. He says he pursues us with love. And I think there's no any other better way on how to do but just to learn from the greatest father of all times. And that is God himself. To always affirm your son that you love them plays a very important role. It makes them to know that I am good just the way I am. And that I am enough just the way I am. My dad said he loves me, and so it doesn't matter really what anybody else says otherwise. Without you telling them, that then means they would have to depend on somebody else to always. That's why you would always find people are not confident of themselves. They go outside and they depend on what people would say. And I can tell you, if you depend, you let your son go out and depend on what other people are going to say about themselves. People can be very careless with what they say. And words are seeds. They form a person. I do not want my child to suffer self-esteem issues. I want them to know that I love them, I care, and when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, and when they are right, I pat them and I say, here, you are right. Congratulations. And I basically I'm there to affirm them. And one of those things is by speaking these words. Yes.
And maybe is there something that your son does that shows you that, you know what, my son is confident with me, he can tell me everything no matter what he's going through? Is there something that he does? that makes you feel, yeah, I've done the right thing as a dad. I've made my son feel comfortable with me?
Well, my son at this particular age, they are not at a place where there's a lot of expectations that I have for them, especially when they start getting into teenagehood. But so far I can see, that's why I ask very intentional questions. What has made you sad? What has made you happy? How has been your day? I want them to, because, you know, sad and happy, these are emotions. And if you can create a space where your son can be at a place where they are emotionally vulnerable to you, I think it's a great achievement. Because that is where they can tell you everything. I sometimes my son would come and just tell me about their best friends, and I would be able to put in my word in that. Sometimes just controlling. I see, I don't think that's a very good friend there. You would want to change that friend. I'm recommending, and I want to give my reasons why I think that is not a good friend, because from my side I want to protect values and virtues that I've instilled in them, and I do not just want them to go outside there, because I know bad morals would always corrupt good morals. So and again, I understand that can two walk together unless they agree? And so on that part, I when they share with me their friends and whom they want to always hang out with, I get the opportunity to even be able to influence that. But much more, what you've just been able to ask is the part where sometimes they would come and share with me even what they do with their friends when they go out, and I think for me that's really an achievement, that they feel I am worthy to be involved with those personal games that they play with their friends.
And we have spoken also about the bestseller book being the Bible. So does Christianity influence how you're going to raise your son?
That's a question there. That's a question there. And I just do not want to say Christianity in itself, because it can be a religion, and religion it has its own influence in humanity. I want to talk about a personal relationship. You know, personal relationship. When I interact with my son, I do not come to him as an institution or per se as a dogma. I come to him as a person. They can touch, they can feel. And that's what I want to insist on, a personal relationship with the person of Jesus the Christ. There is really where we make the difference, because I've seen sometimes we Christianity in itself as a religion, we have also sons who are really kaput, if you want to say it, in terms of morals, in terms of values. You'll be amazed by some of the young people who are involved in drugs. They come from parents or dads who are attached or affiliated to some faith-based organization. So it's not just enough to be there. You must know and interact with the person of Jesus the Christ, know him and see him, get the values out of the heart of God himself, and that is how now you can be able to influence. So yes, a bigger percentage of the Christian religion or religion, our inclinations in terms of faith, influences directly, our sons. I'm just thinking, if I was born in Saudi Arabia, what are the chances that today really I would be, a Christian? For sure I would have been a Muslim. And that would have influenced the belief system of my son. So for sure, belief system inclinations have a great part to play in the influencing and in the shaping of the character and the person of the son as they continue to grow.
And you being now a Christian father, are there maybe certain Bible verses that lead you, maybe in correcting your son, guiding him, and maybe are there still Bible verses that you read to him, maybe you tell him this is what the Bible says, so we're supposed to be living according to this?
One of those things that I happen to see a lot happening within our society, even in Kenya and right now even globally speaking, is identity crisis. you see what is happening even with this in this nation, where we have had a generation that has come out very strongly, and their approach on certain issues that are concerning in the society has always been to go outside there and to express it by being on the streets, and maybe and that has caused a lot of harm. But there are many approaches on how to do that. If you come back in the Word of God, there are clear scriptures that really bring that out. One of them is that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. That affirms your shape, that affirms your color, that affirms your stature. You know, maybe another quote in the book of Jeremiah 29 that it says, I have good plans for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And he continues to talk about and says that I saw you while you are being formed in your mother's womb. It means that we are not around by accident, and that is important for my son to know, and any other son to know, that there is a bigger purpose why you're around, and that you're just enough the way you are. And so it influences perspective to always look at issues that seemingly can be concerning in the society, not only in the family, not only in your own life, and it's influenced by a plan that someone said, someone greater than you, someone that you can depend on, someone that can never fail you, and that is only your creator, that you can say, have concerns over this particular issues. I was just wondering if there was a different approach on how to handle issues that are affecting us in the society, rather than going out and causing vandalizing things and all of that and protesting. It's a political approach, but there is also another way on how we could be able to do that, which is more effective, and that can only be received through the bestseller books of this bestseller book of all time, the Bible. And so for sure I have scripture. I borrow a lot of my values from this Word of God. It helps me to know, to shape the thoughts, or to make them know how to think about it, and I want them to know even much more greater than me, as your father, biological father. There's someone also who is greater than me that we can all always run to and refer to in anything that we would want to raise, whether it's health issues, whether it's something that's giving you a lot of pressure. For example, in school, maybe you could be struggling to perform in a certain subject. Do you think someone who created you has something to say about that? You'd realize that you're special. You don't have to compete with anybody. You just have to be who you are. You just need to unfold and be. You will naturally thrive in certain areas, and it's important. Nobody ought to subject you to a place where you'd have to feel like you're lesser because somebody else is thriving in their own field. No. Take on the challenges that come, do the best that you can, and after you've done what you can, God would always do what you're not able to do.
And maybe I'd like to ask you, since when you started raising your son, that is since when he was born till now, like what makes you so proud of him?
You know, seeing myself in them. Let me tell you, there's nothing exciting like seeing a duplicate you. And you know, they are starting at a very early age to play certain values and virtues and perspectives of life at an early age. And you can really see that you are really depositing things, and they can say, I think this is his dad. The way he speaks, the way he does things is like it's dad. And that is the essence of fatherhood. Fatherhood is about a seed that has fallen, that is multiplying, but maintaining the identity. You know, maintaining the identity. And for me, I think that's the part where I'm so excited. I know I'm not just going to fade off in history. There's going to be somebody who is going to speak like me. There's somebody who's going to think like me, or not necessarily thinking entirely like me, but in their expression and perspective of life, I've had the opportunity to shape that in a way that I think it's going to be competitive for them to live and even to add value, not only to people but even to the universe in itself. Yes. And
concerning how you've raised your son, maybe when he's somewhere and people ask him, describe your dad in one word or in two words, how do you think he's going to answer that?
Well, we got to bring him here in the show and hear what he's going to say. But I think one thing consistently I've had him mention has been the part that he see me pray a lot, and for sure I do, because we realize there are what fathers go through, especially in our times right now, young fathers here in the city, generally pressures that come from the economical part of it, and also socially. Right now, relationships have a lot of tension, and there's basically a lot that is happening. And I tend to pray a lot, and one thing I've always seen them even sometimes trying to mimic is how I pray. And they would always say that this gentleman really prays a lot.
And your last words to fathers out there when they are raising their sons, especially the toddlers mostly, and also the teenagers, and still to the sons who are grown-ups. Your last words to them, maybe.
I would really say that there is a lot of hope. I want them to know there's a lot of hope. And this event that has been organized is going to be an online event, and there is a reason why it's going to be an online event.
Maybe you can expound more on it. I saw you have a conference that you're arranging between father and sons. Maybe you can tell us more about it.
Yes, we have an amazing event, that is coming tomorrow. It's a 2-day event, and it's I think it's 3 hours. We have one that is going to be starting tomorrow on the 21st, and it's going to be from 3 p.m. To I think 7 p.m. thereabout, and we just want to create a platform where fathers can learn from each other. You know, this bestseller book talks about iron sharpening iron, and being at a place where we can just express our concerns, and there are professionals who are going to hear us, and these are not just professionals, but they're people who have been, we're talking about Dr. Gakuya. You know, this is an amazing couple that have done a lot of trainings on parenthood and parenting, and we have an opportunity to hear from such kind of people. We have also other counselors from our own company who have vast experience, and they would be talking to us on the father son and returning the hearts of fathers to sons, and that has also been picked from the Bible in the book of Malachi. And so it's going to be a good opportunity to have them come online tomorrow. It's going to be at the comfort of your office, at the comfort of your home. I am going to attend as a person, as a father, because this is not I'm not a psychologist. I'm going to attend as a father and as a businessman and as someone who loves God. I'm going to attend and just I sharpen myself and to know how better I can improve, and even in my relationship with my son and all of that. And then we're going to have again on it's going to be on 21st and 22nd. Again, we're going to have from 9 to 12, we're going again to have another session, and again it's going to be online. And by the way, it's affordable. It's 1,000 and 2,000 for but 2,000. I think that's what the charges are. And so you can register it. When you register it, when you pay, there's a pay bill on that e-flyer. When you pay on it, you will receive a message. Please make sure to call the line and send the message that you have paid. So your seat can be reserved, and you will receive a link to get into that online session. I can tell you it's an opportunity for fathers. Very few opportunities, especially in our time right now. Conferences that are being held, it's more about women affirmative actions, and it's about empowering the girl child, which is amazing. But I think we have now an opportunity where fathers have a platform, and they can, this is where we're going to start. And I can tell you we'll be doing a lot of this. Our company is committed to do this kind of events even for a long time, because we've seen a gap in the society where fathers need to be reminded, and also sons need to learn, and fathers also need to have their hearts drawn back to their sons, because it is important, it is crucial. Without it, then there could be a great menace to our generation, and we do not want that to be so.
Wow, thank you very much. It was very nice having you over here. Yeah, na umetufunza mengi ambayo tumezidi kuelewa. Kwa hivyo mtazamaji, ukiwa pale nyumbani, tumeweza kuelezwa mengi yanayohusiana na wazazi wa kiume kuwalea watoto wao wa kiume. Kwa hivyo tumeambiwa jambo moja wanalofaa kulifanya ni kwa it is not a must that you treat your kids how you were treated back then, because if we try to compare how it was really tough, but there are things that we can instill in our children that are really good. Na tumeambiwa if we want help, tunaweza enda pale kwenye Biblia. It has a lot of things. Na naona watu wengi sana wamezidi kuungana nasi pale kwenye Facebook page yetu. Naona Andelin Ngashaya anasema watching, I have learned a lot. Naona nani mwingine, Doggies Kiso anasema watching from Naivasha. Jeffrey Gathiro Jeff anasema watching. Last born pia anasema good morning, I have learned a lot concerning raising my sons in the future. Asante sana kwa wewe pia umeungana nasi. Jina langu ni Muthoni MK, na hapo ndio tutakuwa tukitamatisha pia wiki yetu, kwa maana katika Mwangaza Asubuhi, this is our last day of the week. Sisi weekend yetu inaanzanga mapema, kwa hivyo tupatane siku ya Jumatatu, and we have a surprise for you on that Jumatatu. Kwa hivyo usikose kuungana nasi hapa katika Mwangaza Asubuhi, na kutakia siku njema. Mungu akulinde utakapokuwa kazini, wewe pia ulipo pale shuleni, kila mahali utakapokuwa. Tumesoma leo tukasema ushindi utakuja. It doesn't matter what you're going through, it doesn't matter what you're passing through, we are winning through Christ who strengthens us. Kwa hivyo nakutakia siku njema. Mungu akulinde na Mungu akuzidishie baraka zake, neema na kibali ziwe ziko juu yako. Kwa heri.